And hello! Welcome to a very special episode of Solo Playthroughs as we have the first top 10 of 2023. I'm doing a top 10 Spirit Island most fun spirits to play true solo. I don't know how the heck I'm going to word that on the title. Probably won't be that wordy, or it might be. I don't know. Let's go crazy. It's a new year. Now, I'm getting this out very late in January because it's been one crazy month. Lots of review copies of stuff, lots of learning new spirits with the Horizons of Spirit Island spirits finally making it to the channel. But no, they will not appear on this top 10. Let's be honest. We knew going in it's going to be a top 24 list of going through all the spirits of Spirit Island and saying which ones I enjoy the most playing true solo. Now, couple things to do first. Number one, caveats. Frig caveats. Doesn't matter what I say. People get mad about it, and people just want me to get into the list. So I'm going to do that after I do this other thing. I am going to recognize my patrons who have pledged long enough at a level high enough to earn fancy dancy shoutouts to my videos. Instead of doing those interspersed periodically throughout the year, I'm just going to do them at the beginning of my top 10s. If you want to skip ahead, that's totally your prerogative. But remember, these people are why Spirit Island, my bad, not Spirit Island. Spirit Island would exist without me, most likely, almost guaranteed. However, this channel would not exist without these patrons. So if you want to hear about who the awesome people are that make this video possible, and if you're one of them, awesome, thank you very much. I'm going to go through just a few of them. So where to start? Well, let's start with David Coleman. And why I'm going to start with David Coleman is because David Coleman was one of the very first patrons of this channel. He started pledging at the lowest tier back in December of 2020. It's amazing to me. Up to his pledge level recently. Definitely gets credit for everything he gave before that. I'm so appreciative of his support over the years, literal years, and I've really enjoyed talking about a lot of the games with him over the years. Especially, he always pops up in my Spirit Island videos and always has some really cool things to say. So appreciate your support. Thank you, David Coleman. Moving on, let's give a shout out to Rocket Magnet UK. Rocket Magnet, you are the man. Lee shows up in a bunch of my videos. He's been a big fan of Cloudspire and other games that I have shown. Too Many Bones, of course, as well. He does seem to be a bit of a chip theory nut. We all have a problem that we share, I guess, in that sense. Now, he also has sent me literal packages through the mail from the UK, which I so appreciate. I have really used those chip holders that he sent me for Cloudspire, have been absolutely awesome. He sent me some things for Spirit Island, and I definitely appreciate that. Having a friend with a 3D printer, even if they are across the pond, so to speak, has been super awesome. So thank you, Lee. Moving on, we have Madi Zandi. Madi gives me a chance to practice my really terrible Pride of Elementary Arabic that I know once in a while. I'm not sure if he appreciates that or not, but he at least tolerates my ass doing some silly things from now and again. So marhaba Madi, really appreciate your support over these last 6 months. And I'm always happy to see you in the comment section, and the chat always has some really good pointers, especially catches all the mistakes that I make in some of my Cloudspire playthroughs. Not that I ever make any mistakes. Yeah, moving on. We have the fourth patron on the list is Carl Hartley. Carl was also a tier 3 supporter for a long time, bumped it up to tier 2. Thank you so much for that. Always a little extra meaningful to me when people are giving to the channel and seeing the returns in the quality of my videos and seeing the returns in what I'm able to do and how much time and energy I can invest in the channel. And I really appreciate when they're like, hey, I actually want to give more because I want to see more of a good thing, and they consider it a good thing. And that's great feedback for me, and very much appreciate my patrons like Carl and again, David before, who have done that. So thank you to Carl. And not wanting to be left out of that conversation, we have Nate Emmons. Nate did the same thing. He actually had a custom pledge. You do not have to go in with the tiers that are on the Patreon page. You can give a value less or more, something that might make sense for you. Nate came in and said, I don't really want to do the lowest tier. I don't really want to do the mid tier. We'll just do the tier 2.5 or 1.5. I don't know. I always say tier 1 when I mean tier 3, and tier 3 when I mean tier 1. You get the point. But he did a custom pledge. It was super cool. And then he decided, you know what? This has been cool. I can give a little more. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then finally, we have Trevor Haddix. Man, Trevor was a supporter of mine for 6 months on Patreon at tier 2, earned this shout out, and then decided that that was no longer something that he wanted to do. It was super awesome. I really appreciate his month's support. Again, people who can do super chats, people who can do any sort of thing that you want to do to help the channel. It really all does help as I continue to grow, continue to try more games, continue to invest the time in new equipment and kind of just tweaking things here and there. Just you've seen over the last year adding the new camera. You've seen the number of games I've been able to feature that I have purchased. Yes, I'm getting more review copies, but I'm still going out there acquiring games that I can get new games onto the channel. Give people an idea of, hey, are there other games out there that I might want to try? I not being me, I being you. And if you see a game that I can feature for you, that's like, hey, that's a great investment for me. Or you see a game that I do for you, then you're like, this is garbage for me. Amazing. The best thing for me when I feature games that I don't really love, but someone says in the chat, thank you for showing me this, I went out and bought it. That's such a good feeling for me because that's all I really want to do when I feature a new game is actually put it on the channel in a way that someone else can look at it and say, yes, this game is for me. No, this game is not for me, while also having a ton of fun and hitting the favorite hits of mine all the time. Mage Knight, Cloudspire, Too Many Bones, Dawn of the Dead, the 3rd edition, Gaia Project, and of course, what we're going to talk about most of today, Spirit freaking Island. God, this game is so good. It continues to deliver time after time, after all these months, after all these years. I just look back over the years at the games I played at Spirit Island, of the new spirits that I've learned, seeing how Jagged Earth is kind of so easily slid into the world of Spirit Island. And now we have the Horizons of Spirit Island. Again, they're not going to be on this list for a couple reasons. Number one, Horizon Spirit Island is still not yet in all of the world. So it just seems to be a little bit like not totally in the pantheon of spirits yet for everyone that I would want to watch this video. So we're not going to touch them. Number two, I'm still going through them myself. And it seems a little weird to kind of put 5 spirits in that are just so new to me. Trying to fit them into a list like this with the other 24 I know so much better just didn't seem like something I wanted to do. So here we are, the 24 spirits from Spirit Island, ranked in order from the least enjoyable for me to play true solo. Still means I might be cool spirits. Still means I might play them once in a while. Doesn't mean I hate any of them, because I really don't. But least enjoyable to the ones that I'm like, man, I cannot wait to play with this spirit again because it is so fun. Just from a pure fun standpoint, here we go. Number 24. Number 24 is going to upset some people. I'm sorry, Kindred Spirit Podcast. I forget which one of you loves River, but that person is not me. I mean, I like River. It's fine. It's good for new players to see just how important innates are and whatnot. But whoa, that control thing, put everyone on the same thing, find the power that wipes them all out while you get your innate. No. It's not fun. It's just silly after you've done it, like, I don't know, a dozen times. Thank you. I would like to play another spirit who's more fun. Yay. All right. Number 23. Yeah. 23, Finder of Paths Unseen. Everything I said about River. Yeah. Copy, paste, or whatever the audio equivalent of that is. And done. Next, 22. Number 22 is interesting to me because if I remade my top true solo spirits in Spirit Island from a strength perspective again, I would still have many minds at the top. Which kind of brings me to one aside. Yes, there are 4 spirits that I ranked very low on that list that would be a lot higher today. I'm not exactly sure who would be lower. There would be some changes, but I don't ever think remaking that video makes sense for me. I mean, that video got a ton of views. There's not enough changes or enough new things I would want to say. If you're interested in my top true solo rankings, definitely find that video. It is my second most watched video of all time by a pretty wide margin, right behind my top 24 games from last year. So you can definitely check that out and just look in the comments and you'll see the 4 spirits that I ranked too low. And again, I'll talk about them as I go. But Many Minds is just boring to me still. It's so workmanlike. It starts with 1 extra card, which is a huge advantage. It really prolongs its delay. It generates so much damn fear. You get a fear victory so easily. It has all the defense you want with the Dahan movement. And you have all the beasts, and where the beast events animate, it just makes their life so much easier. Just Many Minds is just too strong for me to really love playing with them. Let's move on. Number 21 kind of leads me to a point I probably should have said when I was talking about River, is that I'm not including aspects in this because it just feels a little cheaty. Because, you know, how is one spirit supposed to deal with the fact that this guy has 3 versions of himself? including the base one that he came with in the box. I'm just talking about the base spirits. The aspects are fine. I like them, don't love them, don't feel like I need them. They are what they are, but they do add some nice wrinkles. Might Earth, yeah, he'd be a lot higher from a fun standpoint. Resilience Earth, maybe might be higher, maybe might be lower. I'm just not really going to get into the aspects too much. But Earth, it's cool. Like, he's fine. Yeah, your sacred sites are now defend 3, and you use the Han, and you can move them around, and you really want to do some things, but you can potentially repeat powers, maybe, sort of. I don't know. It's really hard to trigger those things. The tracks are just black. There's no elements anywhere. There's not a whole lot of things that I love about what Earth does, and he's so freaking slow that it drives me bananas. So yeah, not the most fun. Still, gets him up there at number 21. 20 is Keeper of the Forbidden Wilds. A little bit of a many minds problem as far as just the strength. And like, honestly, there were so many conversations for a while there about, is Keeper too strong? And how do we nerf Keeper? And oh, the Keeper opening is so broken. Yeah, Keeper was one of the ones that I had ranked a little bit too low in my top true solo spirits. Oh, by the way, yeah, River was definitely one of the ones I had ranked way too friggin' low as well. Yeah, the things that bore me about River now, I didn't fully see them back then. So I probably should have said that earlier. So I don't know, pretend I did, and we'll move on. Back to Keeper. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, you had a bunch of conversations about, should someone be nerfed and why are they too strong? And all that stuff just makes me, I don't know, tired of looking at a spirit. And I just don't want to play with him as much anymore. So it's really a meta reason, perhaps more than anything else, that I just don't love playing with Angry Groot over here. It's just a thing. It's me, not you. Sorry. Anyway, next. Number 19. Well, number 19 is Bringer of Dreams and Nightmares. And don't get me wrong, like, it's really freaking cool when you're just like, I just generated 7,000 fear in one turn. It's amazing. Yeah, very cool. It makes for some nice moments. So if this was a what spirits can create the best moments list, Bringer would be a hell of a lot higher. But it's not that list. It's the most fun list. And in general, I just don't always love a Bringer game. I actually do prefer Bringer more true solo than I do cooperative. I just think he changes the game so much, unless you're doing like Team Fear builds and stuff like that. Yeah, that's fine. It's a whole other kind of way to win the game. I guess I prefer to smash invaders than to win the game with a whole bunch of plastic still left on the board. It's just a matter of personal preference. Again, it's me, not you. And yeah, I'm a little worried. I think we're cool. I don't know. He looks happy. Next, Lightning Swift Strike. Yeah, super cool spirit in a way. Is he the best for new players, or does he just teach them bad habits? And I don't know, maybe both. He's great. It's fun. And then he starts reclaiming again, and you're like, great, I'm going to play these cards again and again and again until I win or I lose. And no, I'm kind of tired of the cycle, but really cool spirit. I've had some pretty epic wins with Lightning, so not hating on it at all. Just, again, prefer from a fun standpoint to play the ones higher on the list. Shifting Memory of Ages. Oh, Grandpa Beetle. I do love a good major power blitz, and that's fun. And he's number, I don't know, I lost track. So we are 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18. He's 17 for those of you keeping track at home. I mean, look, nothing wrong with being able to play an amazing major power on turn 2 because you have all the energy you need and the elements to do it. But I don't love that style of play all the time. Really fun for a change of pace. It's just, man, I just want to do something crazy, like cause a tsunami on turn 2. Why not? Let's do it. But you're so dependent on those major powers. There's really not a huge intricate puzzle that you're really kind of building out, which is what I love about my favorite spirits. There's just like this thing that you're doing, and you're going through the major power deck and you're creating yourself anew. And while I love that with some of the spirits we'll see, I don't necessarily love that as much. So he sits down here at 17. Stone is number 16, and Stone is defiant as everything because the blight's gonna come from the box, damn it. Yes, he is Stone, and that's how he talks. A little gravelly because he's Stone. I thought that was clever, but you probably didn't. That's fine. We'll move on. Stone is really cool. He's a fun spirit to play. It's bananas when you're like at the end, you're saying, Well, there's so much blight on the board. If I add one more blight, it's blighting everywhere because it's going to be absolute perpetual cascade. And how do you prevent that? No, Stone has some ways to do it. It's really cool. I do love the way he can set a trap. That's super fun. It's just a different way to play that track thing with the one and the thing. That's a whole other decision that I still don't fully understand why that works. It seems silly to me because whatever. Fine. I'm not Eric Royce. He's a genius. I am not. But yeah, Stone's fine. He's really fun on occasion. Don't get me wrong. Just sitting in here at number 16. And that gets me to 15. Again, from here on, I mean, even starting with Stone, these are spirits I really just fully enjoy on a deeper level than the ones before it. Like, there are not really bad games to be had. And the rest of the spirits I'm about to talk about, I'm really never bored with all of these spirits. And that is not always true with some of the ones that I've already mentioned. So we're going to say a spread of rampant green. What a cool thing. Like, you get a presence here and you get a presence here. And it's like Oprah talking to the land and say, you get a presence and you get a presence and you get a presence. Because I'm putting my presence freaking everywhere because I am a spread of rampant green and I am rampant and I am green and you will deal with it. And now I can actually be green because Jagged Earth gave me green presence. And that's freaking cool too. It's a really cool puzzle being able to choke, still trying to find a way to make the fear do enough damage that you can get to a win condition. Love green, true solo still, love him co-op still, super cool spirit. But, you know, someone has to be number 15 and it's going to be him. And that brings us to creepy frog amphibian dude with the glowing light on his head because that's what he does. He just has a glowing orb of cauliflower. Yep, still looks like cauliflower to me. Or it's like a golden raspberry. I don't know. But he's freaking cool and he's freaking creepy. Love playing as him. I still need to get him back on the channel after I went in all freaking arrogant. I'm going to crush Russia 6 and then got demolished. I think we're just going to do at some point out of nowhere a lore Russia 6 live because I need to redeem myself from that epic loss on the channel. Woof. But tokens everywhere. Gotta love it. Especially now that my friend Tony got me the premium tokens. There's so much little pieces of woody goodness. It's so fun. All right, lore. Number 14. Number 13 is Fractured Days Split the Sky. That is right. Fractured Days pretty much splits this list. See what I did there? It's amazing. So Fractured Days is a really crazy spirit. I love the high complexity nature of him. The love dabbling in like the time and the present and trying to make it all work. And you generally have very little presence on the island as a result. And the way he manipulates time is super puzzly, super strategic, super brain burny, not necessarily super fun all the time. Because my head hurts, damn it. But it's so good. I really do love what Fractured Days brings to the game. Still think is potentially the greatest piece of design in the game for sure. But, you know, fun, it depends on my mood. And it's not always a Fractured Days kind of day, if you catch my drift. So we're going to move on from him. He's sitting there at number 13. Number 12, somebody get the alarm clock and wake this serpent up because it's too sleepy in its slumber. And man, it needs to get to that little earth spot in the middle and just destroy freaking everything. I love Serpent so much through solo. The fact that you can use all those another spirit powers on yourself and just make some magic happen. It's like, I want another card. I want another power and I want to do this and I want to do that. I can get it all. I can have it all. I can have my cake and eat it too because I'm playing true solo, damn it. And that's so good. I don't know why I keep saying damn it. It's not a thing I normally do, but we're going to try to edit some of those out during the editing process. And maybe there's less of them by the time you hear me say this, and maybe you won't even hear this. I don't know. Only time will tell. But Serpent, back to the important creature at hand. Serpent does some really cool things. I just love that board. I love the way the elements make a nice little puzzle for you. And then you're trying to like devour yourself so you can get more presence on the island. So there's like that little push and pull and having to work around blight and use your growth options to get places that would be otherwise hard for you to get, and just trying to get to that middle point on the spirit panel because you know everything opens up once you can get up to that earth spot. Very, very cool spirit. And, you know, just have so much fun with the others that, you know, someone has to be 12, and it is the Serpent. And number 11 is Starlight Seeks Its Form, another high complexity spirit. I do really enjoy the let's find out what we're going to be when we grow up thing a lot more with Starlight than I do with Shifting Memory, again, who is basically doing the same thing, but in reverse, because now, again, he's the oldest spirit in the island. He's trying to rediscover his powers. Starlight's like, I don't have any powers. I'm just a little star. And now just has to acquire powers and decide what they're going to be and what elements are going to feed them and feed their essence as they become this powerful force on the island in all these radically fun and crazy different ways. It's just, again, not always the thing that I want to do, looking at that board and just, woof. So many decisions. That was not necessarily a bad woof. It was not necessarily a good woof. It was a woof. A very deserving woof for our friend Starlight. And the woof that is going to leave Starlight at number 11 on this list. And that brings us to the top 10. That's the moment you've all been waiting for with Shroud of Silent Mist. Shroud of Silent Mist coming in at number 10. And man, right after I do that new lore video, I probably should get one up there with our buddy Shroud, because I still owe you all a win with him, because I don't think I've won a single time ever. Have I even used him in a co-op scenario, or has it only been true solo? I don't know. But Shroud is creepy, and Shroud is interesting, and like hurting the invaders but keeping them alive because you want to leech energy and power off of them is pretty freaking wild. And I do enjoy how all of that comes together. Just a cool spirit with some cool ideas, the way you can kind of bounce around the board. You're going to see that thing a lot for me in the top 10, as I love spirits that can kind of move their presence and do things with it, especially when it's super thematic. And it is super thematic with Shroud. The idea of that mist just really permeating the island and kind of going, and where it goes, creepy things happen. And it's really cool. So yeah, Shroud, definitely a very, very, very strong number 10 on this list. And now number 9, Downpour drenches the world, coming in strong, because I want to do it again and do it again and do it again and do it again. And when you want to do it again, who are you going to do it with? But this guy, Downpour drenches the world, super fun. Love the way you're kind of counting up those waters and saying, what do I need? Well, I need energy. I can replay this power. I can get an energy and replay a power. I don't know, how many waters do I have? Just a lot of really fun things that can happen with Downpour. The way that you're preventing damage, not necessarily by defending, but saying everything's muddy, which now is going to make it harder for Dawn to retaliate. I love the way that kind of tickles the part of my brain that just loves thematic things happening and seeing how that's encapsulated in the essence of the game and how the mechanics are constructed. So really, really cool things with Downpour. A very fun spirit to play, very different spirit to play, can be extremely strong when you're spamming like fear cards. And you're just like, man, I want more fear cards. Great. 2 fear, I'm going to play it 4 times, so that's 8 fear. That's super cool. Or you're stacking defense, or you're stacking damage, and just doing some pretty epic combos with our buddy Downpour over here. So yeah, big fan of Downpour, coming in at number 9. Number 8, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The story of once upon a time, there was a young man named Greg who was playing a game that he was like, I like this game, but I don't know, like, we'll see where it goes. And then took out a panel that had the word ocean on it and was just like, whoa, that's cool. The game, the theme, the ideas, how the mechanics are really encapsulating what a spirit does did not totally click for me until I first saw it with our buddy Ocean, and just using those growth options to have a wave come in and go out, come in and go out, and oceany things happened on the island, and invaders are drowned, and victories were won against more adversaries than I had been able to accomplish before, as I just generated fear and absorbed the essence of those invaders and made them energy to pay for more powers. My voices are just really weird today, so I apologize in advance. Even before I edit this, it just is what it is. You hopefully are here for the show, and you're getting one, so let's make this happen even more. So Ocean, or maybe not even more, at the same level, maybe less. We'll go for that. Ocean is super cool, really fun to play. Really love that puzzle. Probably generates a little bit too much fear. I know one of those guys over at Kindred Spirit Podcast has said that a couple of times. It is pretty nuts that Ocean's Innate can generate more fear than Bringer's Innate. I don't really know, but does Ringer really need to generate more fear? No, but Ocean should probably generate a little bit less with its innate. I don't know. Just saying. That said, though, I mean, if you lived on the coastline and you're an invader and you see some of the waves that this puppy's generating, you'd be scared too. That's all I'm saying. So, yeah. Maybe it's thematically appropriate, but really fun spirit to play. Super cool puzzle. And again, if you're really struggling to connect with this game, I do think playing with Ocean until you really kind of see it can be a big part. And not just from my own journey. I've definitely heard other people or read other people in like subreddit threads or whatever talk about it. It was like really Ocean where they just really just fell in love with this game because they saw it on like the deeper level that this is not just mechanics on a page that you're learning from a rule book. This is like a living, breathing island that you are playing on. And it's super, super cool when that starts to click. So Ocean, number 8. Now for number 7, we go from sea level to the tippy top of the mountains, and specifically a volcanic mountain, because it is time for a lava show with Volcano looms high, baby. Nope, it's looming high, whatever. He's one of those two things. You got the point. Volcano is just absolutely nuts, man. The idea of destroying your presence and managing your presence and trying to get presence so you can destroy it again is like just a cool little puzzle. The fact that you're only on mountains, but you have to find a way to make that work. And the idea of like, all right, am I going to go for one huge eruption to destroy so many things? Or do I not have that luxury where I just need to like actually stay on top of the invaders with mini buffs here and mini buffs there? And after we get Nature Incarnate, we won't even have to like just hope that we don't get Tipping Point anymore, because that's not even going to be in the game anymore. So that's super helpful too, because Tipping Point. That was a little bit aggressive, Eric. Just a little bit, tiny bit. But Volcano is freaking awesome. I love how those innates work to kind of feed the beast, so to speak, where one's destroying your presence, one's regaining that presence, how that ties into volcanic activity in real life, and just what a freaking cool spirit with some cool ideas encapsulated in that. I do feel a little bit sad for the Dahan. That's going to be a little bit of a theme too, but great. Volcano, number 7. Number 6 is Thunder Speaker. And yeah, Thunder Speaker is really strong. And you'll see a lot of really strong spirits in the rest of the spirits that I'm going to talk about. You just saw Ocean. Many Minds to me is strong in a way that I just find boring. But Thunder Speaker is just not. I love being able to move the presence around and how that works with the Dahan and the Dahan movement powers and triggering your innates and all the power that she can do. I just absolutely love playing with Thunder Speaker. Yeah, really strong. Still really fun. Yeah, you just got to bump the difficulty up. Find a challenge that's going to be there. And they definitely are there. I mean, you could do a bunch of things to scale this sucker up. So there really isn't a total concern. It's just like when I'm crushing with Thunder Speaker, it feels good. It's like, yeah, I set that up. I put all those freaking Dahan there with the presence and I did 1 billion damage, and now I can move them somewhere else. So this isn't like a finder or like a river thing for me. This is a much more dynamic puzzle that I really enjoy when I'm playing with Thunder Speaker. So what a cool spirit. She's freaking awesome. She has a rodent coming out of her hair, which I'll still never understand, but it's there, and you gotta love it because it's Thunder Speaker, and she will smote you if you don't. Just the facts. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. And now we're gonna go on to number 5. Shadows flicker like flame. Yeah, buddy, number 5. And yes, this is shocking even old me that Shadows is so high. I just love it. I think it's the contrarian in me. There's a little bit of contrarian in me. Sorry to my wife and everybody who has to suffer from this fact of life, but Shadows is just fun to me now. I actually really enjoy the challenge of Shadows. There is clearly no other spirit that I have gotten better at over the time in the last couple of years than Shadows. I mean, you could argue for River, you could argue for Starlight, but Shadows was absolutely a spirit that if you watch my first playthrough that I put on the channel, a recorded video and like garbage video quality, you probably don't want to watch it. Save your eyes, save your ears, save yourselves. Don't watch it, or do if you're really curious. I go on a diatribe about how much I do not like playing with Shadows, how I could not figure out that freaking spirit at all. And then I just played more with them, and I played more with them, and then I tried the aspects, which gave me a new look at him, and came back to the base Shadows, and I'm like, this is a crazy little puzzle. It's just a matter of staying ahead of the invaders more than you would normally have to, and just anticipating the invaders' movement and moving those key explorers here and there and triggering those innates. Yeah, like I wish that Spirit Board was a little bit more interesting. You know, I wish Shadows got like almost Horizons of Spirit Island treatment to some extent, maybe not as strong as some of those Horizon spirits are, but like an element on the track could be super helpful to make sure you're hitting those innates and keeping that puzzle moving. But Shadows in general is just a freaking cool spirit to me, and being able to have the flexibility. I know that special rules kind of garbage, but you still got the option to spend the energy to get where you need to get, as long as there's the Han there. That could be super strong. I really like how that puzzle all comes together. Remember, Shadows was considered too strong, which is why he was nerfed before the initial release. And yes, maybe he was nerfed a little bit too much, but still so much power inherent in there, so much strength, so much fun to be had, and just really enjoy the challenge. But it's not the kind of challenge of like Fractured Days where it's like, is my brain going to melt out my ears or not? No, it's a different level of puzzle. Super engaging, super fun. Definitely one of my favorites. And yeah, number 5. It is what it is. Deal with it. Number 4. Remember I said the thing with Volcano that I sometimes feel bad for the Dahan with some of my favorite spirits? Well, Vengeance kind of fits the bill for saying that as well, because Vengeance don't care about you, your freaking spirits. He's the honey badger of spirits. He's gonna get his revenge, and he doesn't care what's in his way. If you're in his way, you going down, because there's gonna be disease, and where there's disease, there is going to be damage, and more damage. And when there's blight, guess what? More damage on top of that. So just let it happen. Late game Vengeance is super fun, man. When you can make those elements work for you, and you're triggering both those innates, and you got the right balance of those powers, and you're finding the ways to get the energy to pay for your cards, it's such an awesome experience. And the idea that if the board is under control early, you are playing wrong is so interesting to me. It's like, yeah, okay, I have no blight at turn 3. It's like, you're playing wrong. You're going to lose. You cannot possibly win with Vengeance if the board looks good after 3 or 4 turns. You just can't. Gotta let it go to crap. Wait, your board looks too good. You gotta go Blighted Island. It is what it is. Blighted Island card might mean that you might not win this game, but a lot of times with this puppy, you're gonna find a way. I know he's not a puppy, he's a lizard. But you get my point. The dude is so freaking strong, and I love that brinksmanship element with the power to say like, yeah, okay, invaders, you think you're winning? Not so much, because I'm gonna get my freaking vengeance, because I am a fiery lizard. I like this dude. He's fun. You should play him more, because it's Vengeance. Number 4. And number 3 is Heart of the Wildfire, baby. That's what I'm talking about, man. Similar. Love blight using spirits, and I just love the inherent strength of the brinksmanship element. But when you get it just right, when you get to that balance of right to the edge of destruction with still being in control, because you know what you can do later, and you can kind of bring yourself back from that brink while taking control and doing the damage and making other magical things happen, especially with Heart of the Wildfire, having that regeneration abilities to take the blight that you put on the board, taking it off the board so you can add more blight to do more damage, is such an awesome freaking puzzle. Absolutely love Heart of the Wildfire. Super, super fun to play with. When I started with Heart, I was like, I don't know what's going on. My friend Steve is like, I love Heart of the Wildfire. That's how my friend Steve talks. It's really weird. I know you see him in the chat sometimes in the live playthroughs. You never would have put that voice to that sweet man on my chat, but that's really what he sounds like. It is what it is. So he just loved freaking Heart of the Wildfire. And I was like, all right, let me play Heart more. And I was like, man, okay, I definitely see it. Was definitely one of my early favorite spirits for sure when I got the promo pack 1 along with Serpent. So not at all surprising to me that he is up this high here at number 3. But who could possibly be ahead of Heart of the Wildfire? Let's see that now. Number 2. Number 2 is Grinning Trickster, Stirs Up Trouble. So yeah, you know that leaves for number 1. And don't say it for someone who hasn't figured it out in the back. They'll figure it out on their own, and we'll talk about it in a couple of minutes, all right? Don't be that guy and spoil it. That's right, no spoilers on solo playthroughs. Grinning Trickster, however, is just wild. And I won't even try to do his voice again like I did when I talked about my top 2 solo spirits, because I know it was epic. from what I've been told by a couple of people. But yeah, Trickster is great, man. That little imp running around the island, stirring up trouble, messing with the Dahan, messing with the invaders, just having a grand old time saying, let's see what happens. Bam! Like, it's unbelievable when you're playing a game with Trickster and you're just like, how much blade am I going to add this turn? 1, 2, hopefully none. I don't know. Let's see what happens. It's such a crazy feel, and how that is somehow balanced into a spirit that is as strong as Grinning Trickster is. I think he was number 2 for me in my top 2 solo spirits, if I remember correctly, and definitely would still be way the frig up there for me. Such a strong spirit. Just that balancing just works, man, because you're just doing so much in so many lands, and you're just going to hit enough to kind of keep the island under your control and messing with the invaders at all times to just have some really epic, really fun games that just go in directions you just did not expect. And then you're trying to like, all right, I'm going to play this card and I'm going to add it to my hand because that gives me energy, because I'm bored by doing the same old, same old. When I reclaim my cards, it's boring to me. So I have to pay energy to do that. And like, that idea of a spirit is so cool to me. And I absolutely love that puzzle every time I play with my friend over here. I'm not even sure what kind of animal Trickster is supposed to represent, but the art's cool, the spirit's cool. It just makes me laugh every time I play with them. So number 2 is gotta be Grinning Trickster. And number 1, the most fun true solo spirit at Spirit Island is Sharp Fangs Behind the Leaves. I don't know if I went through the whole list of the spirits I ranked too low on my top true solo list, but one of the things I always found interesting was that no one ever told me who I ranked too high. And I've always been like, who the heck would I lower? I should probably lower Fangs. Fangs is probably too high. Fangs is still top 10 for me. I find Fangs very strong, but they're definitely a little bit too high in the list. And I heard about the new aspect cards and they upset me because don't touch my Fangs. I love Fangs the way they are. They're freaking awesome. And I just love playing as them. And I love the idea of like turning our presence into beast, getting ranging hunt, going freaking everywhere, moving my presence around the board. Again, it's one of my favorite things to do with these spirits. And that Shroud, that Thunder Speaker, that is absolutely Fangs. And I just love how that puzzle comes together and getting those elements, doing ranging hunt, getting the damage capabilities right from turn 1, where it's again not focused on control. It's like, no, a freaking tiger, a bear, and an army of freaking hungry ass badgers showed up at your doorstep, adversaries, and they're all going to eat you, and you just have to freaking deal with it. I guess you won't have the army until late game, but man, you get to late game with Fangs when you're just keep converting your presence to a beast once around from like turn 3 through like turn 7. And now you just have tons of freaking beasts and you're just like, oh, they're all moving, and they're moving your presence remaining on the board with them and just doing some really, really cool things. You have 6 beasts come in, wipe out 6 cities. It's awesome. I absolutely love Fangs. I love what they do. I love the way they play. And it's just super fun for me and just never gets old or stale, or it's like, I want to put everything in one land and I'm going to dig through the major power deck until I find this one card. I found it. Now I win. It's like, no, that's not what I enjoy. I enjoy the consistency that a game of Fangs brings. I love the fact that so much of what he does is with his innates. I love the fact that he plays a lot of minor powers. You're really not going to that major power deck very often with Fangs. It's just not the way you need to play with him a lot, whereas more important, you're getting the elements, you're playing range and hunt, and then you're doing the frenzied assault stuff as well, and just doing so much damage that way. Just a super, super cool spirit. And yeah, might have been a little too high on my top 2 solo because of how much I love playing as Fangs, but definitely my favorite spirit to play as, and just really love the puzzle they present. So that is that, man. The top 24 true solo spirits and Spirit Island from the perspective of what is most fun to play. Obviously, my list is totally subjective. So it is what it is. One of the things I absolutely love about Spirit Island, as I've taught this game to so many people, is seeing my friends engage with spirits in a way that I don't, where it's like seeing them click with a spirit just so naturally, for spirits that for me were like kind of a struggle, and seeing spirits that I clicked with so naturally, seeing for them is kind of a struggle. Like there's something crazy about Spirit Island. Everyone has like that one spirit that just kind of sings to them, and it doesn't always match up with what I would expect going in. And that's such a cool thing about this game. the way that everyone has their favorite spirit, their favorite style to play, and just how that all comes together and makes this game so freaking dynamic. And I just love teaching this game to people. I still play a lot co-op. It's just a lot of fun to kind of see how all these spirits can really appeal to different people in different ways. And I think when you see how many like content creators like me are out there that just say Spirit Island is one of their top games, and how diverse the rest of our favorite game lists are, it's pretty remarkable. And it's such a testament to the greatness of this game, and that this game has a spirit for everybody for sure. This game has tons of spirits for me. This is just the order of who I prefer to play with on most days, in most situations, in a vacuum, right? But I also do love cycling through the spirits the way I do on the channel. I love that the channel encourages me to keep doing that, and that will never stop. There is not a single spirit I mentioned today that will not be back on the channel at some point. I could almost assure you of that with what I have planned in the upcoming months and beyond for sure. But Fangs, definitely my favorite spirit, definitely the one I had the most fun with through solo, and all the rest of them are so freaking good. Even River sitting down there at 24. Once in a while, you just want to gather everything up and see how you can crush them. It is what it is, blah, blah, blah. But Fangs, no, baby. I'm going to move a freaking beast in there, and I'm going to maul some people, and I'm going to move somewhere else, and my presence is going to go with it. And that's super awesome. Oh, man, this game just gets me going, man. It's so fun to talk about Spirit Island, and definitely will always consider Spirit Island as the game that really grew solo playthroughs when I was just starting out in content creation and had no idea what I was doing. But I started posting some videos of this game, and they really started to become more popular, and my subscriber numbers really started going up, and view counts. And I was like, I should start to learn how to do this better. And hopefully I've accomplished some of that, and hopefully you've enjoyed this video. These videos are always great to put on. Now, my next top 10 list is the big one. It's going to be out sometime in April. My top solo game list. Again, it comes out every April. Last year's video still gets an insane amount of views relative to the rest of my channel, and I am very excited about what is going to be coming down the pipe as I get into this next list. Lots of new games on there, so look out for that in April. Between now and then, there's going to be a lot of new games on the channel in the next 2 or 3 months. If you want to see what's coming up, again, there is a link to my Patreon in the description of this video below. As always, there you will find a public post that I do every month. And in every public post, I put a list of all the new to solo playthroughs games that I have in the pipeline on some level, including review copies sent to me, including games that I've purchased. And we're going to get as many games on the channel as I can. You should expect 1 or 2 new games a week for the next couple of months. I got a ton of new content in the end of 2022. There are some other games, big games that I'm excited to get to later this year, but they're just going to be backburnered for a while as I get through some games. Now, fortunately, a lot of them are smaller boxes, which is great. Still a couple of behemoths that are going to take some getting used to. So it's been an amazing, amazing beginning to 2023. Thank you so much for everyone for your support, whether you're a patron or not. The likes, the comments are just all awesome. All the encouragement that people give me through this channel has been amazing over the years. Any questions, comments, epiphanies, put them in the comment section below. Any spirits that you think are super, super fun that I might be missing something, definitely put that in the comment section below. The comment section when I did the top true solo spirits was robust and went on for days, and it was super fun to engage and hear people's perspectives about this game. I love talking about Spirit Island, so that will never get old to me, and that's awesome. And remember, this is all fun. It's supposed to be fun. Someone's gonna miss that memo, and I'm sorry for that person. Speaking of things coming up next couple weeks, I am going to be rounding off all the Horizon spirits. We'll get a couple of two-handed plays of the Horizon spirits on the channel as well, and just have a lot of exciting Spirit Island content to come down the pipe. Again, I feature Spirit Island about twice a month on the reg. This has been awesome. Thanks again to Eric Royce, because he really does love you, because he gave you that extra blight and he gave us this freaking amazing game. So thank you for joining me, and happy gaming.